Good morning, SKN. I'm Jamie Morris.
And I'm Cortenta Carty. And as usual, thank you for joining us today for another episode of Good Morning SKN on this Thursday morning. We're happy that you joined us. So what are you looking forward to most today?
I'm looking forward to reconnecting on air with one of my former colleagues, Jacqueline Lewis Basu, who is right outside the green room here. And we'll be talking about International Literacy Day, and of course she's a reading coordinator, so we'll be talking about the position in schools reading.
Yeah, she's accompanied by Ruth Duport. And then we have Culturally You. We're talking to youths from all the way from Nigeria.
Absolutely right.
Man,
How could I forget that?
Oh, and the inspirational Mishi, as I affectionately call her, Michelina, on her keynote speech.
So this is going to be an action-packed show. You don't want to miss a second.
Indeed. And we begin the show this morning with local news, this from SKNIS. During a visit to the power station at Needmans Estate yesterday, Wednesday, September the 7th, Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, expressed his appreciation and support for the hardworking staff there. The Prime Minister visit to the power station comes as the St. Kitts Electricity Company Limited commenced a load-shedding exercise on September the 5th as a result of a failure on the alternator of one of the company's main generators. According to Skelec, that failure, in addition to overalls and other equipment failure, reduced the power plant to half of its capacity, while Prime Minister Dr. Drew said that he empathizes with the concerns of the thousands of electricity consumers on the island. He noted that the work being undertaken by the staff at the Needmans power plant should not be understated. The Prime Minister said as he greeted the staff members of the plant, and quote, "I want the country to appreciate what you are all doing here. You guys work in these shops. People are just seeing electricity when they press a switch, but they don't understand that there are real people here who have to go sometimes beyond the call of duty to make sure that they can turn on a switch or get a glass of cold water or iron a shirt. So I want you all to know that we appreciate all that you are doing." End quote.
Yeah, so he is making his rounds, showing appreciation, definitely, because these people work really hard.
They do.
Despite the power outages that we've had, we know that they're working hard.
Yes.
So we appreciate all of them as well.
Yes, we sincerely appreciate you.
And we've got lights, so we should appreciate it because
indeed.
we're onto lights right now. All right, moving on. This from SKNIS, the faculty and staff rolled out a grand welcoming reception for the new and returning students of the Keon High School as the 2022-2023 academic year officially got underway yesterday, Wednesday, September 7th. The welcoming was capped off with a special visit by Prime Minister the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, the elected parliamentary representative for the area. It was the first school Dr. Drew visited since assuming the post of Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. In his brief remarks, the Prime Minister informed the students of a number of decisions taken by his administration that will enhance the delivery of education across St. Kitts and Nevis. Prime Minister Dr. Drew said, quote, "I want you to know that CFBC is now absolutely free for all of you. You don't have to pay for CFBC. We will once again reintroduce the laptop program and make sure that all of you have access to a device if you don't have one. We will also make sure that those who don't have the internet at home, we will help you to get internet at home because all of you must be connected to the internet," end quote. Prime Minister Drew added, quote, "We will convert our schools into smart schools where we will include ICT and the technology so that we can create students who can compete with anyone, anywhere in the world. And that is our commitment to you, the students of St. Kitts and Nevis and the students of the Keon High School," end quote.
That's so nice.
I love the focus on students. I love the focus on them because, as you like to say, they are the next generation and they are the future.
They are the future.
And the investment now will provide a lot of great returns for us in the future.
Because once you invest in your people stay. We don't want brain drain.
True.
Yes.
Very good point, Cortez.
Yes. MOFA scholarship recipient optimistic about studying in Taiwan. This from Win Media. One of the recipients of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs MOFA Taiwan Scholarship, Ms. Zende Knight, is looking forward to pursuing her tertiary education in the Republic of China, Taiwan. In a recent conversation with Win, she said there is much to be learned in a country as advanced industrially and highly regarded globally as Taiwan. While I am grateful to have been born in St. Kitts and Nevis, where it is relatively peaceful and bountiful, I feel as though it is important to stay open-minded to change and explore knowledge and practices, not just in Taiwan but globally, and be willing to welcome different and new ideas if it improves our way of living. Miss Knight, who will be studying mechanical engineering at the National Taiwan Normal University, said she is grateful for receiving the scholarship and also looking forward to the experience of residing in a foreign language country. That's really nice. Ciao, Bango.
I am so very happy for Zidane. Zidane?
Zidane.
Yeah,
Okay.
Zidane. It's just a great opportunity, and absolutely proud of her as well. All right, moving on to a check of our local weather. It's going to be partly sunny to cloudy with a 60% or moderate chance of showers and a 50% or moderate chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon. A high of 93 degrees and a low of 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Take a look at your weekly forecast as we head to the break.
Great news, everyone! SKN Moves is turning 3. And this year, we are going to celebrate bigly by bringing back the 7-week challenge. For week 1, we will focus on the importance of breastfeeding. In week 2, we will participate in the SKN Move anniversary walk. Week 3, let's watch the In Your Kitchen I Rep My Community competition finals. Week 4, a healthy drinking water challenge. During week 5, it's all about mindfulness and our mental health. And no, that's not all. In week 6, we will learn about self-care and management. The celebrations end in week 7 with the Caribbean Wellness Week activities, National Fruit Day and National Sneaker Day. Come participate, celebrate and enjoy. Join SKN Moves and let us move toward a healthier St. Kitts and Nevis.
If you gradually use less salt, you will gradually want less salt. Eating less salty foods will reduce your cravings for salty foods. Let's get salt smart.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. We continue now with the latest in regional news. St. Lucian government reviewing grooming in schools amid legal threat. This from CMC. The St. Lucian government says it remains committed to reviewing the present positions regarding issues of grooming in schools after the 13-year-old son of a lawyer was prevented from attending classes on the first day of the new school term on Monday. The ministry said in a statement, quote, "The Ministry of Education, Sustainable Development, Innovation, science, technology, and vocational training is aware of situations at various schools which have sparked public discussion as it relates to issues of grooming in schools on the island, end quote. It said it wanted to assure the general public that it remains committed to reviewing the present positions with a view to addressing the current issues from a holistic standpoint. As such, the ministry is committed to ensuring that an evaluation of this nature includes the thorough participation of all relevant stakeholders in determining the best way forward, the brief stated. In a statement posted on his Facebook page, attorney Al C. Elliott Sr. said of his 13-year-old twins attending the St. Mary's College, said one of his 13-year-old twins, attending St. Mary's College was denied entry into his classroom the first day of school because his hair does not conform to the rules of the school. This is a very fascinating story because you've been aware, you know how we do things here, and that was one of the issues that we had to confront when we were in schools. As a matter of fact, students couldn't go to schools with dreadlocks. Students couldn't even go to school if you were a boy anyway.
Well, they had some that they exempted with the dreadlocks.
For
but
religious.
The braids,
Yeah. And if you fell in between, for instance, let's say that you were not identifying as a Rastafarian, for instance, but you had those little twigs, it's like you've got to cut your hair.
Exactly. It wasn't working.
And we're kind of seeing the reemergence of it. It would be interesting to see a picture of that son to see what he looked like.
I think they were up whilst you were reading. I don't know if you saw them. But he just has a big, neat puff. So it's big. His brother hair is cut like yours, but his is just a round, neat puff. It's fairly neat. Look. So that's why I feel that it's not as bad. I guess they want to be different. They don't want to be taken for each other.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But I guess they want it flat.
One to watch, Hortensia. One to watch.
Indeed. We continue now with international news. Shark attack kills cruise passenger in the Bahamas. This from the BBC. A U.S. cruise ship passenger was killed by a shark while snorkeling near the Bahamas on Tuesday. According to local authorities, the 58-year-old woman from Pennsylvania was on an excursion near Green Key, near Nassau, when the incident took place. Police later said that the family identified the shark as a bull shark. A similar incident in the area took the life of a 21-year-old American in 2019. Despite gripping public attention, shark attacks are exceedingly rare. Bahamian police spokeswoman Chrislyn Skippings told reporters that the woman was on an excursion with a local tour company, which took her to the popular snorkeling area. Family members and tour company staff saw her being attacked and managed to pull her from the water. A local news outlet, Eyewitness, quoted Ms. Skippings as saying that the victim suffered wounds to her upper extremities. The victim was declared dead by authorities after being taken to shore. Her cruise ship, the Harmony of the Seas, was docked in Nassau at the time of the attack. It had just begun its 7-day cruise of the Western Caribbean from Port Canaveral in Florida on September 4th. That's so sad.
It is incredibly sad. And even though they were, it doesn't take the sting away from, the family members and the loved ones, and even the people who saw that, because it is quite an ordeal, and I don't even know what to say, Cortensi, except...
They had another attack on a little British boy. I think he was 9. His dad said it looked like a scene out of Jaws.
But the guy survived?
I think so.
Okay, great. I am not going anywhere. I'm sorry. No, you're not going to get me to snorkel.
No, I can't even get him to swim. Look at that.
Ever. What you can get me to do is return after this break. So we'll be back in a moment with more of Good Morning SKN. Stay tuned.
I eat some veggies for dinner. Let me just check the amount of sodium in this can. Oh no, this is too much. Let me try our next option. They did say it's healthy to consume less salt. This is much better. I am salt smart.
You ever hear Earthquake call and say, "Hello, Miss Lee, yes, it's me, Earthquake, I coming Tuesday around 10? No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced, and when it come, it shake all sense and sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Once the shaking starts, you know it's earthquake. Make a quick move to a safe place. Don't run to the door, we are in the exit. Stairs might block up or full of people. Elevator, avoid that because you might get in and poof, power gone, and you're stuck in that box without air. Take cover under a strong table or a bed, or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner, and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH, drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls and doors, in an earthquake, bad news. Take care yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drop and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, don't want to run outside and ask, you feel it, you feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop, and do the DCH, drop, cover, hold on.
Dreamy Decor specializes in flowers for all events, from birthdays to weddings and any other special occasion. What's a better way to express to the people you love than by providing the finest selection of beautiful flowers and gifts? So when you think of flowers, think of us, Dreamy Decor.
As a hypertensive patient, in my home, I reduce salt intake by not adding salt during the preparation of my food, not having a salt shaker on my table, limiting the consumption of salty snacks, and choosing products with low sodium content. That's why I am salt smart.
I want to protect his classmates and his teachers.
I wear a mask because I care about the frontline workers who will have to work even harder if those around me get sick.
I wear a mask to protect my family. I wear a mask to protect you. I wear a mask because it is the right thing to do.
I wear a mask because I don't want to put any vulnerable individuals at risk, like my elderly loved ones.
I wear a mask because
we are all in this together.
Good morning, SKN. This is Lyrical. I just want to say blessings to you. There are a happy place in the life if you live in there. A happy place in the life if you live in there. Cause them at a happy place in the life. And they can't change. And they just come out here to do right. So whether day or night, they will never ever change. Blessings, blessings, and blessings.
Good morning. This is Karen of Paris and Zippo from Paris, Vermont. And we want to encourage y'all to sign on to Good Morning SKN every morning from 8 to 10 at Studio 327. Thanks.
Former UNESCO Director General Irina Bokova said, "Literacy is much more than an educational priority. It is the ultimate investment in the future and the first step towards all the new forms of literacy required in the 21st century. We wish to see a new century where every child is able to read and use this skill to gain autonomy." Those are indeed wise words and quite appropriate as today's International Literacy Day. This is a commemoration first declared by UNESCO in 1966. Today on Good Morning SKN, we mark the occasion by speaking to two individuals whose work here in the Federation involves providing the tools to help residents achieve literacy. They are Jacqueline Basu Reading Coordinator at the Curriculum Development Unit, and Ruth Duport, Literacy Specialist. Ladies, welcome to Good Morning SKN.
Good morning, and thank you.
You're welcome.
The definition of literacy, I think, is something that a lot of people think that they understand, but since you're a literacy specialist, Ms. Duport, your understanding of literacy, what can you tell us?
Yes, so according to the National Assembly of Adult Literacy, literacy can be defined as being able to use print and written information to function in society to help one achieve their goals, advance themselves, and aspire to their full potential.
Is it the same as being able to learn? I suppose it consists of a whole lot more than that. Definitely.
It has evolved. Once it was described as being able to read and write, but now we are saying you should be able to function in society, functional literacy. Because there are some persons who are able to read and write, but they cannot navigate their surroundings, their community. They are inept at that. And so we are saying in order to be fully literate, you must be able to apply the knowledge that you have to help you to sustain your life.
So what is the percentage of literacy here in St. Kitts?
According to recent research, literacy in St. Kitts is 97.8%. When that is compared to the region, St. Kitts is around 4th. On the world market, the world literacy is 86.3 or 4%, something to that aspect, but compared to countries like Finland and China, they have literacy rate of 100%, and it's based on their education system. And so, according to the UNESCO document from the 2017 Sustainable Goals, we are looking at our curriculum and trying to copy best practices and moving towards filling those gaps. So we looked at the education structure in China, education structure in Finland, and how can we use some of those positive things and adapt them to our curriculum. And we have started. It's good. We have now the enhanced curriculum. We are looking at the blended approach to fill those literacy gaps, and we are hoping that we have more students leaving secondary certified. Some children are able to read. We have children that are able to read and write, but no certification, and so we want to ensure that all school leavers are certified.
Understood. So, Mrs. Basu, I'll pivot to you because we talk about curriculum. I heard it come up. We talk about the importance of reading, and I know that your work as reading coordinator is very involved. So, can you give our viewers a sense of what it is that you do? Because I know it's important.
Okay, I'm stationed at the Curriculum Development Unit as the reading coordinator. My role is to coordinate reading within the primary schools. I've worked with the teachers, and of late we have implemented a reading intervention program, which works with the lowest achieving students within the primary school, helping them to fill those gaps that they would have had based on whatever would have caused them to fall behind.
All right, can I ask you a little bit more about that? Because obviously that's important. How do you exactly work? I know Ms. Duport is one of your important allies in the school as well.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. So within the primary schools, the Ministry of Education have established reading centers, and there are teachers stationed in these reading centers specifically to work with the students who are the lowest achievers within the classroom. And so in the larger schools, we have 2 teachers that work hand in hand, one with the early grade learners and one with the upper primary. And so they would pull students out during the course of the day and give extra reading lessons and teach strategies that would help them with reading and filling those gaps that they would have missed in their early years. Mr. Portman,
perhaps I can add
because she's on the ground.
I am on the ground.
Right.
So currently, I am based at the Dr. William Connor Primary School, and I am a reading intervention teacher. Right. And so what we do, we look at our students from kindergarten moving upwards. We don't do any reading intervention at kindergarten because we give the children an entire year to master the program. And so at the end of that year, we have discussions with the classroom teachers to find out which children, those children that are not meeting the expected goals. And so they would identify those students, and we have an assessment tool called the CAB-R. It's a diagnostic assessment tool that just came out of the University of the West Indies. And so I'll tell you some more about it. And so we administer that assessment test. It's a literacy assessment test. And so we administer that assessment test, and we look at the results. And based on the results of the students, it tells us which children are not performing at the expected levels. And so those children are identified for reading intervention. And so we group the students. There, Ms. Reed, she works with the children from infant, and I work with the children from lower and upper primary. And so we tailor instructions that meets the students' interest, their learning abilities, and help to motivate them so that we could fill those weaknesses and move them to strengths. And so I work with children from grade 3 to 6, and Ms. Reed works with children from grade 1 to 2 every day. We can only work with a very small number of children because experts indicate that we cannot have too many children in the program, otherwise we're going to retard the process.
All right, so how many children are in the program on average?
On average, Dr. William Connor has a load of 300 plus, so we have like 3 of almost each grade. I work with 21 children at the end of the day, and Ms. Reed works with about the same 21 children at the end of the day. And so there are some cases where we do small group, because after testing we recognize that these children are at the same level, and so instruction could be applied in small group. And then there are some children that would be below that group that needs individual attention, and so we give those children individual attention also. We have discussions with the classroom teacher to check to make sure that these children are being raised above or close to the class level that they are expected to function at. At the end of every semester, we test the children again. We test them as they're coming in. So this week and next week, we are going to be testing the children to see who needs reading intervention, and to see those children who have any increase in literacy development. And after that, we go back again, we discuss and decide, okay, well, let us try these strategies to see if these children will improve. Now, again, at the end of the school term, after applying tailored instruction and children are not meeting, then this program is not doing what it should do, and so we have to look for other assessment. And so that is where Michelle Jacobs comes in. She deals with dyslexia because some children peak, and classroom instructions, or let me not say classroom instruction, but what's that word that we're looking for? The formal instruction, they cannot function at that level. They need something else. And so special education, because the children have learning disorders.
That's a lot of information, and we're going to pick up on some of that when we return, because I can't help but feel comforted in knowing that, well, remediation, is one of those things that is very important to me and was very necessary. So I'm grateful for everything that you've said. When we come back, we'll talk about that and a whole lot more. Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be back in a moment.
Great news, everyone! SKN Moves is turning 3. And this year, we are going to celebrate bigly by bringing back the 7-week challenge. For week 1, we will focus on the importance of breastfeeding. In week 2, we will participate in the SKN Move anniversary walk. Week 3, let's watch the In Your Kitchen I Rep My Community competition finals. Week 4, a healthy drinking water challenge. During week 5, it's all about mindfulness and our mental health. And no, that's not all. In week 6, we will learn about self-care and management. The celebrations end in week 7 with the Caribbean Wellness Week activities. National Fruit Day, and National Sneaker Day. Come participate, celebrate, and enjoy. Join SKN Moves and let us move toward a healthier St. Kitts and Nevis.
You ever hear Earthquake call and say, "Hello, Miss Lee, yes, it's me, Earthquake, I come in Tuesday around 10? No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced, and when it come, it shake all sense and sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Once the shaking starts, you know it's earthquake. Make a quick move to a safe place. Don't run to the door, we are any exit. Stairs might block up or full of people. Elevator, avoid that, because you might get in and poof, power gone, and you're stuck in that box without ear. Take cover under a strong table or a bed, or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner, and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH, drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls and doors in an earthquake, bad news. Take care yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drop and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, nobody run outside and ask, you feel it, you feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop, and do the DCH, drop, cover, hold on.
Yo, what up? It's your boy N Richie right here at Studio 327. I'm here to give you the promo that you guys need, because this is something special for St. Kitts. I'm telling you, tune in to Good Morning SKN, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and on Moment Channel 4. Also, I realize nobody else is doing this. Follow the Good Morning SKN Instagram at Good Morning SKN, and the Studio 327 Inc. Instagram. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook. This is pretty long, but follow us, and yeah.
Let's now look at some tools that can assist individuals in overviewing literacy with Jacqueline Bassou and reading coordinator of the Curriculum Development Unit at Brute Duport Literacy Specialist. So I asked the question during the break, how early should a child learn how to read?
Children come into school at 5, and so it is practice to have them experience a year of formal teaching before you can assess and say, well, you're having learning difficulties or anything. So we usually encourage teachers to allow the students to have at least 1 year of formal instruction before any diagnosis takes place. Yes. So
what I like built into what we've been discussing so far, which is the work that you do, is that you are able to identify students early, and then you keep monitoring them systematically to see if they're progressing or they're not. And you were talking during the break, Mr. Duford, about your experience with one particular student who seemingly wasn't progressing as he should, regardless of the interventions. What can you tell us about that?
Well, after being exposed to 2 intervention programs at the Dr. William Connor Primary School, we had to seek outside assistance to see if this is more than what is expected. And so we had to bring in another specialist, and that was Miss Michelle Jacobs, who worked at the special education unit. And so she decided that she would do dyslexia test to diagnose to see what exactly is happening, because we had already diagnosed him with the CAB-R assessment, and those findings showed that the child had plateaued and would not be able to go any further with formal learning, and that happens, it takes place. Now, that was, his problem was a brain disorder, because dyslexia is a brain disorder. You can be taught how to read and write even though you have dyslexia, but it's a specialized set of skills, and persons have to be trained in order to address those needs. And so after the test, he was identified that needing special education, and that is another type of intervention. So the Cotton Commerce Comprehensive Unit would be the next stage that he would be moving to in order to get tailored, specialized instruction that fits his needs and to move him along. What we need to realize is that children learn differently, they learn at different pace. Some of them are early bloomers, some are late bloomers. All would not walk the same path. Can't have the same expectations of all children. But what we should do, that upon leaving school, whether secondary or it at the Cotton Thomas Comprehensive, they must be able to function in society. And that's our objective. No matter where they are, no matter what career path they're going to take, they must be able to function in society. Long ago, we had children that weren't performing at the formal level, and so they were kept at home. And parents age and they die, and there's nobody there to look after these persons. And so we have to.
I realize, but I realize that you had a reaction to that. So part of the work that you do, you experience that, I imagine.
Yes,
You
yes, we
realize that.
have had students who were left at home because they weren't learning at a rate that is expected of them. And so, as she mentioned, the parents die, and what happened to those students? They're there without anyone to take care of them, cannot function in society, and really put at
This is alarming to me because I'm seeing a lot of connections, believe it or not, between students' understanding, literacy, their functioning, and truancy, even if they're not going to be engaged in schools. There were a lot of linkages.
Yes.
Truancy is normally one of the hindrances that prevents literacy or students become literate. And so we have truancy officers within the Ministry of Education that go and find students that are delinquent and get them into school and get them, into the programs that we have, just so that everyone can have an opportunity
To an education. And one of the reasons for truancy is your socioeconomic background. If your psychosocial needs are not being met, education is the least of your problem. If I can't eat, I don't have shelter, I can't be clothed, no one is there to love and take care of me, of course I'm not thinking about education. And so if we get our society literate, because if you have a literate society, you have a society that is moving forward. So if we have a society that is literate, of course we're going to stamp out areas of socioeconomic background. Persons would be able to work, earn, and look after their family. So literacy is, when people talk about literacy being key, I don't think they really understand the true meaning of literacy, because literacy expands to the quality of life that a person can have as opposed to someone who is illiterate. I'm not saying persons who are illiterate would not be able to work, but it's better to have a nation that is literate because we are going to have a productive nation.
Very well.
So what is being done to commemorate International Literacy Day today?
Well, I got the information late because last week we were involved in workshops. So what I did, I spoke to, so happened that my EO came and I said, tomorrow is World Literacy Day. I have already plastered all kind of things over my WhatsApp page. All of persons keep calling me, send me that, send me that. And so I said to him, I'm going to need you to put this information in the principals' chat so the principals can disseminate the information to their teachers and so that they can inform and make the children aware that we are celebrating World Literacy Day today. I gave him the theme and I went on to explain a little of UNESCO's view towards the learning space. And I was sitting idly and I happened to hear a podcast about UNESCO transforming the learning space, and that was talking about asynchronous learning online. And you hear persons out of India and Africa and across the world saying that, online learning, because they weren't probably able to step inside a brick and mortar building to access education, online learning was able to do that for them.
Well, that's very important indeed. I wish we had more time. I really think that this is a conversation we need to continue. But Ms. Basu, I'm going to give you the final word. As reading coordinator, what is something that you want parents to know as they continue to send their children to schools, and what can they expect in that sort of thing?
What I want students parents to realize is that it is not up to the school alone to help these students who have learning gaps and that we are trying to get up to standard. Parents have a very important role to play. They should be involved in their children's education. They should be involved in their students' learning. Learning can take place anywhere, even while you're driving them to school. Help them to read the signs, help them to read the different signs that they would see on the way, help them to read the things around the house. Whatever little opportunity they get to participate in this works and helps.
Good advice on World Literacy Day. Thank you, ladies, for coming. Always a pleasure to see you, and a really delightful conversation. We'll be back in a moment with more Good Morning SKN. Stay tuned.
Has anyone ever touched you here, or here? Well, these are actually bad touches, not good ones. And so, if anyone ever touches you in these areas or anywhere else that makes you uncomfortable, you must say no, then go and tell. Say it with me. Say no, then go and tell.
This message was brought to you by the Department of Gender Affairs in collaboration with Probation and Child Protection Services, the Ministry of Health, and the Pan American Health Organization.
If you gradually use less salt, you will gradually want less salt. Eating less salty foods will reduce your cravings for salty foods. Let's get salt smart.
When growing your savings, where you save matters more than you think. Dare to compare and see for yourself why you should start saving and investing at First Federal Credit Union. You don't have to settle for cents. Let your money make sense. Reap a higher return by stashing your cash in a high-yield savings account or term deposit and earn up to 4% interest on your money. At First Federal, we say yes.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
I wear a mask because I want to protect my child, but also I want to protect his classmates and his teachers.
I wear a mask because I care about the frontline workers who will have to work even harder if those around me get sick.
I wear a mask to protect my family. I wear a mask to protect you. I wear a mask because it is the right thing to do.
I wear a mask because I don't want to put any vulnerable individuals at risk, like my elderly loved ones.
I wear a mask because
we are all in this together.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. Today we have the unique privilege to engage in meaningful dialogue with members of the Nigerian-based organization We Have a Say. We will speak about the organization's role in bridging the divide between leaders and youth regarding politics, economics, and social development, with emphasis on the 2030 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. We have with us three representatives of the We Have a Say: founder Obi Fule Irobuke, Executive Director Innocent Anai, and Communications Director Christopher Iroganachi. Gentlemen, I hope I did justice to your names. If I didn't, feel free to correct me. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning SKN.
Thank you for having us.
It is indeed our pleasure. So, origins of We Have a Say. Why was it established? Whose brainchild was it?
I actually started We Have a Say. I've always had an inclination for socioeconomic development. And in about 2013, I got the idea to start We Have a Say. It actually started off as a small group with small meetings. But in about 2015, we came together and decided we should take this thing to the next level to get more people involved and get more outreach, which was when I put up a team together. And in 2017, we started the registration process of getting officially registered, which we finally concluded in 2019. I actually met Ambassador Rosalind Hazel at a program in the United States in about towards the end of 2018, where we had a lot of discussions sustaining around the Sustainable Development Goals. And this actually gave the organization a different inspiration. And we started to pursue more of the Sustainable Development Goals through youth participation in policy and governance. And I would like to say she's actually our grand patron now. And I'm here with my team of Namdi Iraganachi, Christopher actually, Iraganachi, and Innocent Aneni. Christopher is the communications director and Innocent is the executive director. So we are the three actual board of trustees of We Have a Say. So what We Have a Say is actually looking at is to get youths involved in policy and governance. We actually saw that there was actually a vacuum in the Nigerian political scene where we had little representation of women and youths in governance. So we decided to come together to actually forge a path for the youths whereby they can get more representation in policy and governance. Because we feel if youths get involved, we can actually develop policies that help create an enabling environment for the sustainable goals to be achieved, thereby resulting in socioeconomic growth.
All right, so just so that I'm clear on everything that you've said so far, which sustainable development goals do you specifically focus on?
To actually honest, we actually focus on the Sustainable Goal 16, which has to do with peace and justice and inclusion for everybody in every institution. We actually focus on that goal because I think with that sustainable goal, we can actually bring everything inside because we think a strong institution is the best platform to actually achieve all the other 16 sustainable development goals. If we get institutions that are credible, accountable, and justice for all and inclusion of everybody, I think it's going to be a fair playing ground for everybody to work towards achieving the remaining sustainable development goals.
That makes perfect sense to me, Obi.
Sure.
Yes.
All right, gentlemen, I want to ask you now, how have your professional backgrounds impacted your work with the organization? Because I did a little bit of homework on you, and I understand that you come from somewhat similar but also different backgrounds indeed. So what can you tell me about how they play roles in informing your work with the organization? Let's start with Christopher.
Okay, Christopher.
Okay, well, I'm a lawyer, and you know, I've grown up with a sort of a passion for, you know, for understanding the people at the bottom of the pyramid in terms of law, society, the economy. In my early career, I started off with a lot of prison reform work. So I would go to the prisons to try to, you know, provide some relief to people that had been, you know, incarcerated without proper, you know, adjudicatory, without going through the proper adjudicatory process. So, and I realized that, you know, there was a sizable number of young people and women in those places, you know, and they had been quite literally robbed of their voices, you see, and that made an impact on me, and thankfully, you know, I had at the time the friendship of both of my compadres, if you like, you know, and that sort of, you know, that sort of fueled the conversation that we were having at the time, and you know, and so when OB came up with the idea, Innocent was excited about it, and I was as well. But my professional life as a lawyer, you know, gave me a fillip, if you like, and sort of prompted me to embrace this line of work. Yes.
Innocent?
Yeah, hi guys. First of all, thank you for the opportunity. For me personally, I have always had a background in banking and finance, but by the time we actually started this, I was making a transition into the microfinance sector. So I was actually a general manager for a microfinance bank, which was situated in a rural area, so my village, basically. And there, what I came to realize was that most of the driving force behind the community, most communities anyway, especially where I was, were the youth and the women folk, right? But one thing that, a struggle that they always had was access to affordable finance, because most of them were either petty traders or artisans, and it was very difficult for them to get finance to better their lives, to get above the poverty line. So for me, being there for over 3 years and working closely with them, trying to come up with products and services that is more tailored to helping women and helping the youth, I found out that you know, things like giving out little loans, which the commercial banks or the bigger institutions were not doing, actually went a long way in, you know, getting them employed, getting them a legitimate source of living, and gradually getting them over the poverty line, right? So that was something that, you know, I had firsthand. So when OB approached us with this, you know, it kind of was in line, and we knew that, you know what, at the end of the day, regardless of whatever issues any country is having, right? For example, you know, it always draws a line to governance, right? So you need to create an enabling environment for your people to thrive. You know, if we use Nigeria as an example, we have a very large youth population, you know, and the best way to cater for them is to, you know, get them involved, right? Let them understand their powers, let them know that their contribution to governance in whatever, at any stage, is very, very important to realizing their own goals and, you know, giving them a brighter future. So that's part of the reason why, yeah.
Okay, well, gentlemen, we'll take a short break and then we'll be right back to continue this engaging conversation we would have started. So viewers, stay tuned.
When growing your savings, where you save matters more than you think. Dare to compare and see for yourself why you should start saving and investing at First Federal Credit Union. You don't have to settle for cents. Let your money make sense. Reap a higher return by stashing your cash in a high-yield savings account or term deposit and earn up to 4% interest on your money. At First Federal, we say yes.
Dreamy Decor specializes in flowers for all events, from birthdays to weddings and any other special occasion. What's a better way to express to the people you love than by providing the finest selection of beautiful flowers and gifts? So when you think of flowers, think of us, Dreamy Decor.
Children, how can you tell a tsunami coming?
Teacher me.
Sammy?
My mother said when uncle jump in the pool and the water spoosh out, that's how you tell a tsunami coming.
Settle down, children, settle down. Do you remember our tsunami song?
Yes! Mommy, uncle not here in the other shake.
Hush your mouth.
Daddy, uncle not here and the sea gone.
Who cares? You don't see all them free fish? Quick, give me the bag.
This is how you tell a tsunami a come. Teacher says so. I would have failed in school, you know.
Sammy, come, let me go. They would have failed anyhow. Let me run, see Sammy.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. We continue our discussion with We Have a Say representatives, founder, OB, Executive Director Innocent, and Communications Director Christopher. I love your names, by the way, especially the one Innocent. If I had that name, I tell you, I'd go through life a little more easily. At least I'm hoping.
Yeah, it's always a conversation starter anyway.
I imagine it is. So as we continue our conversation, I'd like to know what challenges the organization faces in meeting its objectives. Any one of you can answer that one.
Okay, I think I'll start off here. We actually have some challenges with actually getting to coordinate youths, but how we've actually been able to solve that is we've actually provided a very relaxed atmosphere for everybody to be included. Like we get everybody to make sure they have a role to play, so that way we keep them focused and keep them with their eyes on the ball. Also, we face some challenges with regards to financing. For now, the organization is actually a self-funded organization. Whenever we need to raise any financing to get anything done, we actually, as a team, contribute towards getting our tasks done. But in future, we look to reach out to international organizations and corporate donors who are actually inspired by the work we do.
Okay. So do you think you're on track for the 2030 goals of UNESCO?
I think we're working towards that. We're on track, yes.
Okay, lovely.
And with the Nigerian elections coming soon next year, we think if we get the right government in, we think that will actually boost our organization.
Lovely, that's good to hear.
It's interesting that you say that, because when I perused your site, I saw under the campaigns a lot of information on voting, and I think that if I'm not mistaken, that was one of the things that you were driving, youth participating in elections. What can you tell us about that drive?
Yes, we actually hold a lot of sensitization for youths to get registered to vote, because there has actually been a laid-back attitude, because the youth in Nigeria feel that their votes don't count anymore because of past elections being rigged and obviously votes not being counted properly. But we're trying to let them know that there's a new narrative in Nigeria, and things are getting better. There's now an electronic voting system. So we're trying to let them know that your votes actually count, and you have a choice to choose the right candidates who fits the purpose for which you want. So we're trying to let them know that get registered to vote, perform your civic duties, say no to vote buying, say no to election violence, and just exercise your civic duty and be responsible, be very responsible towards governance. So that's the only way you can actually achieve putting in the right person that would actually push your agenda and put the right institutions in place for the country to progress.
And we speak on votes.
I might add.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go on. I might add that, that Nigeria has much of Africa, and Nigeria specifically has a very young youth, very young demographic. Okay, yes. So we're looking at a 99% growth rate by 2050. We're looking at doubling the youth demographic. So young people do need to have a say in what goes on in their countries, especially in Nigeria, because I might say that if we're able to shape the democratic process here, then we can inspire our friends across the world, the young people across the world, who also have a stake in the democratic output. It's important to note that there is a certain degree of apathy. Okay, and this is, don't forget, we've not always been a democratic country. We've not always had democracy as we know it now. So there's a high degree of apathy, and of course, we're also struggling in nation in some respects, economically. So that level of turbulence, apathy and economic turbulence can sometimes has put off the youth. We're trying to revitalize them, and it's a difficult task to get them to believe in a future similar to a past that their parents enjoyed with state subsidies and all kinds of things like that.
Okay. As we speak in that same breath of election, I'll read a bit of something, and I quote, "The time has come for a refresh in new and inspired leadership which bears the hallmark of youth and which has youthful energy embedded within it," end quote. How important it is, that's something that was told to both our Prime Minister and our Deputy Prime Minister as you congratulated them after their win. How important is it that the reins of leadership be handed over to the youth sooner than later? Anyone can take that question.
Okay, I think I'll give this a shot. So for us, right, and like Christopher alluded to earlier, the youth are the engine behind any country, right? So be it in in every facet of a country, right? The youth population is what generally drives it. So for us, we believe that with the youth getting involved now, those issues that most countries face, so if it's financial, if it's in education, if it's in agriculture, if it's in health, right? We really believe that
oh, we lost Innocent there for a minute.
Unfortunately, it seems as though we have lost the audio.
Or Innocent. So Obi, you want to continue?
I'll continue from there, yes. So with regards to, as I said earlier, having met an Ambassador Rosalind, every discussion we have actually get inspired, and we were actually inclined to support and approve and endorse the current Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister, because we saw the manifesto of their party, and we believe they had a lot of things and a lot of plans towards doing things for the youths, and which is what we're driving at in Nigeria here as well. We're not saying the youth have to occupy every position in governance. We're actually saying we need more representation. We're actually saying whoever is there should actually have a plan, a map manifesto or an action plan, something that has youth involved. We are the ones that have the future. We have a collective voice. We're going to forge our paths, but we need someone that will actually push us and someone that actually supports us. What we need is an enabling environment. And if we have any leader, anyone that has a plan to get youth involved, then we will support and we will endorse.
Lovely, lovely.
Well, very solid points, gentlemen, and I understand why it is indeed important to involve youth, because as you rightly said, they are the future of tomorrow. At this moment, I think it's time to have a little bit of a cultural discussion. Because obviously you've met our ambassador.
Yes.
She spent some time with you as well. And the cultural exchange, that dynamic, what we can talk about. Let's do it this way. St. Kitts, I don't know if you know, but St. Kitts is known as the heart of the Caribbean, and you are considered to be the heart of Africa. What gives you this outstanding distinction? And as you answer, I'm going to see if there are any parallels to us as well.
I think with regards to culture, I think we share a lot of culture, a lot of similar culture with them, St. Kitts and Nevis. We're still a lot of Nigerians moving over there, relocating, trying to get citizenship. And I think it's quite a big drive in Nigeria now, people moving to the St. Kitts. With regards to culture, I think we actually have similar dishes, if not prepared the same way, but we have similar tastes. And music-wise, Nigerian music actually stems from the Afrobeat. There's a lot of the genre called Afrobeat. That's what is making international grounds everywhere now. So there's the core of the Afrobeats, which I think it's quite a little bit similar to the music in St. Kitts and Nevis, like the calypso. There's a core culture. There's a taste of something natural in our music, which makes it more interesting. I even noticed that I think Two-Face Idibia, one of our popular artists, actually shot a video in St. Kitts and Nevis some time back with a Trinidadian artist. Oh. And I even saw, and I think this in your festival this year, there was a guy called Rotimi. He's a Nigerian American Nigerian. I don't know which one comes first, but he actually performed. Yes, he actually performed at your festival in this year. I think that was in June or sometime.
Yes, it was in June indeed.
Exactly.
There are opportunities for cultural exchange. Interesting point on routine. Thank you. I did not know that. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right. So what we'll do now is that we'll take a quick break, but we'll be back to talk with you a little bit more about the cultural dynamic and things that we have in common when we return. So stay tuned.
Hey, my friend, what going on?
Not a thing. I just here cooling under this tree, about to eat a mango or two.
Where you get mango from all now?
Boy, Auntie Rose bring me some mango this morning.
Oh, gosh. What you hit me for?
You give me something to put on?
Girl, you can't just come tempting me with these juicy round pally mangoes and expect me not to want some.
Just because something looks appealing and you want it, doesn't mean you are entitled to it and that you should touch or take it. Your mother ain't teach you manners. Ask for consent first before you touch up the mango them.
But why ask? And if it's dear, it's dear. Just take it. Why ask?
Simple. If it is mine and you ain't asked for it, it is called, wait for it, stealing.
That's true. My bad. Okay. May I please have some mangoes?
I don't know. After that spectacle, I ain't sure I want to give you any.
You see that? But I ask.
Just because you ask doesn't mean I have to give. It is still my mangoes.
So what you tell me ask for then?
Because consent is everything. Had you asked first, I would have been more inclined to give you one. And just because you ask doesn't mean I have to give you. You got it?
Okay, I got it. Now, may I please have some mangoes?
Only because you're my friend and I like you. But that still don't mean you're entitled to it.
Okay, I get it.
Good. Don't leave your mango skin on the ground, eh?
If you understand the importance of asking for someone's consent for a mango, then it shouldn't be too hard to understand consent when it comes to sex. The power of consent is everything. Ask first. If you or a friend has been sexually assaulted, please call 465-5000 for the Counseling Center.
This message was brought to you by No Judgment SKN and sponsored by the Basic Needs Trust Fund, the Department of Gender Affairs, and the Caribbean Development Bank.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN as we continue this engaging conversation with the gentleman from the organization We Have a Say in Nigeria. So earlier this year, Good Morning SKN reported on the dying art of the Kofar Mata dye pit in Kano. What is being done to ensure that this tradition goes on and not face an ultimate dying? The ultimate dying or the ultimate death? Literally.
Interesting play. Is that for us to respond to?
Yes, please.
All right. So yes, you know that those dye sites have been active for quite a long time. You know, some of them are as old as 100 years old. You know, Kano is itself a historic and ancient city. So it's obviously a thing of pride. You might have heard of the recent repatriation of Nigerian art from European museums. So it's obviously, you know, that signals to everyone back home here that it is time to take some special recognition of those kinds of sites. There are a couple of people who are starting to mobilize, not only in Kano but in the southwest of Abeokuta, who do quite some related work in tie and dye. And I don't think that there's any real sort of threat in the long term of those sites disappearing, because there are young people now that I know who are going to, you know, who are going to that line of trade. You know, and so I am reassured that we can look back in the next 50, maybe 100 years with some pride at how well those dye sites are doing. I don't know if we're going to be able to apply any sort of modern technology, you know, to that. I don't think that it might work, but you know, the beauty, the attraction is that, you know, those pits themselves, you know, have been there for ages, and the hand sort of, you know, they're all done by hand, and that's, I suppose, the beauty of it, really. So I would say when you come over to Nigeria, we'd be happy to, you know, to take you over there to have a look. There's no threat of it disappearing, and as I said, in the southwest, in southwest Nigeria, young people are going into that, you know, similar line of business.
Good stuff.
I'm going to pivot to my co-host here because I know that she's a foodie. And if you understand that term, it means that she just loves to eat. So this particular question, Cortezio, that's yours.
That's mine? Okay. So one of our local dishes in St. Kitts is something we call tonkon. So I'm going to talk in the local dialect. Tonkon, or we call it fungi, right? It is corn that we boil basically with butter and okra and a little spices, right? And we eat that with fish, mackerel, or saltfish. I've heard that you have okra soup. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, we have a dish called okra. It's an okra soup. It's what we do with ours is we blend the okra, dice it, boil it, and put spices in. And we don't have ours with corn. We don't have ours with corn. We have one with like a swallow. There's something called gari. It's an end product of cassava. We use that with some like starch or something else. We actually use that with a swallow, like more similar to like a mashed potato kind of.
Okay.
Yes,
So mashed cassava, basically.
Yes, mashed cassava, basically. Yes, with the soup. So we swallow that. We don't chew.
So it's literal. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Oh, nice. So do you have any cornmeal dishes in Nigeria?
And we have actually now this is actually the season for corn, the raining season. So now by the roadsides and everywhere, see a lot of roasted corn. We have people roasting corn, and you buy that with coconut or something, or we have it boiled with pear as well. Yes. There's a local pear we have here. I don't know the botanical name, but there's a local pear, a small one.
Okay.
Just put in hot water and it gets soft quickly. Then you have it with corn, like roasted corn or boiled corn. That's mainly how we have our corn. Yes.
Oh, okay.
All right, so gentlemen, my follow-up question. I'm not leaving the food alone yet because you seem so enthused by this discussion, this line of questioning here. Does each of you cook? Can you cook those things that you've described?
I can try.
Like Obi's answer.
This is for my own statistical analysis because I know I can't cook anything Cortez is talking
But Innocent looks like he can cook. Innocent, you were about to tell us that you can cook?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a foodie. I'm a foodie, but I'm still trying my hands at that.
Okay, that's Chris. What about you, Innocent?
Oh yeah. I can cook, but I don't know how edible it is. But,
that is something I would say. I feel like we're brothers already.
Obi, you were about to say something?
Yes, I've actually tried my hands on a couple of sauces, and they came out quite nice. So I think I haven't tried okra before. I think given the recipe, I might be able to make it. I don't think it's that difficult to make, though.
Nice. So that when me and Jamie show up in Nigeria, you will be in charge of the okra, okay?
Gladly.
All right, so another similarity that we have in common is that we boast one UNESCO World Heritage Site. That is the Brimstone Hill National Park. And we understand Nigeria also boasts World Heritage Sites. Can you give us an overview of those?
Yes, we have, a couple of interesting places. I'm not quite sure if they're, UNESCO heritage sites or not, but we have the Azumini Blue Lake. We have the caves. So there are some really spectacular caves in Enugu. We have the Olumo Rock, which I think is the UNESCO site itself. The Olumo Rock is an ancient collection of rocks that stand somewhat precariously, one on each other. I've been there.
Always.
So these are interesting places. And then we have the Yankari Game Reserve. Unfortunately, we do have some unrest in that part of the country at the moment, but it used to be a really prime area to go to relax. And then we do have the Obudu Cattle Ranch, there's, and then we have sites in Taraba. I think Innocent and Obi might have a few, but these are interesting places. So Olumo Rock, Obudu Cattle Ranch, the Azumini Blue Nile, Blue Lake. We have the caves in Enugu State. Yes.
Well, these are places definitely on my list of places to visit. Gentlemen, I so apologize, but it seems as though we are running out of we're running out of time a little bit. But you know what? I feel like we're gonna have this conversation again when we can coordinate it because there's so much more to get. So I want to thank. I definitely look forward to it too. I just inherited 3 brothers, by the way, so I'm really looking forward to it. All right, so thank you so much, and best of luck with the continued work with the organization We Have a Say.
Yes.
Great talking to you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having
us. Very much indeed. Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure.
You're certainly welcome.
And congratulations to St. Kitts and Nevis on your recent elections.
Thank you.
Thank you. Much appreciated, Christopher.
I'm pleased with you as well with our upcoming elections as well.
Oh well, you have our best wishes.
Yes,
definitely.
And if I can just add as well, happy Independence on the 19th.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. You're good fishing already. All right, take care, gentlemen. More Good Morning SKN in a moment. Stay tuned.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Greetings, my lovely people. I'm Chantel, residing in Taiwan. 12 hours time difference. It's nighttime here, morning time in SK. I'm busy and on the go. However, I always manage to keep up to date with what's happening in SK. All thanks to Good Morning SKN. Good morning SKN. Ciao, bango!
Salt is an important part of the human diet, but most of us consume more than we realize.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
As we continue to celebrate International Literacy Day, Hortensia and I will be sharing a bit about reading throughout our childhood.
Yes.
Do you remember what the first book you read was?
I was just telling Alicia the Bear and Nancy stories. And then as I got older, I got into the Goosebumps book. That sometimes I couldn't sleep at night because I always thought that somebody was under my bed.
The Goosebumps book. I've never
You
heard
never
of that.
know
What
the
was that about?
Goosebumps series?
No.
It's like scary stories, but they made sense to me.
Okay.
You never heard of Goosebumps? They even had a series on television.
Okay, no, never heard of Goosebumps. And
Dun,
I
dun,
wasn't
dun,
really
dun.
good.
No?
I can't say I wasn't good at reading. I just didn't like to read.
Okay.
So you're talking about scary stories. I'm thinking of Tales from the Crypt. Remember that guy? Tales from the Crypt, the little skeleton guy with like the white hair that literally just, I don't know what to say.
That makes me think of Beetlejuice. You know Beetlejuice?
Of course I know Beetlejuice.
So then you
It
gotta
wasn't like
know.
he was walking around in prison gear, but we're talking about books, right? So Beetlejuice was he ever a book though?
No, it was just a series.
Okay, so in terms of the books, I know my mom tried to get me into what's that? And my aunt was really good at it. Hardy Boys.
Oh, okay. I know Hardy Boys. I know Nancy Drew, but I never read Nancy Drew. I know Goosebumps. I know the Nelson's Readers. You remember those that we had to read?
Yeah, and because we had to read them, I never enjoyed them. I'm sorry, I'm just putting it out there.
Man.
Anything that was on a list to read, like from school, it's like,
Yeah.
nah.
Not having it.
Was I being defiant? Perhaps.
Oh man! And then I had the simple books. I can't remember the name, but like, something is a cat, something is a
Dr.
boy.
Seuss or
yeah.
something like that? Oh,
Not
no,
Dr.
I know what you
Seuss,
mean.
but
yeah.
the,
We all
like
went
the,
through those. Yeah.
the 3-sentence books.
Yes.
You
We all
know,
went
to
through
get
those.
you to learn how to read. But I can't remember, as I told Alicia, I think it's in my file cabinet from the youth locked away because it's no longer in my brain. So I can't remember the name of the book.
You want to know something really interesting? I think, and I could be mistaken, but I don't think I was. A lot of people might not remember this, although he says it when we're together sometimes in audience. The Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley was my third grade teacher.
Oh, nice.
So we were reading, and at the academy school, which no longer exists, by the way, unfortunately. But yeah, he was my third grade teacher. And one of the books that I remember reading, I think, in his class was an account. It was compiled of short stories, a compilation of short stories, rather. And it was of the Christina disaster. So I do remember that. I think it was my first introduction to that particular item, or let's say point in our history. That's a better word to use. So I do remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember Mr. Hanley teaching me, although he hasn't aged one bit since then.
I know.
Don't know how he found the fountain of youth. I'm telling you, honestly.
He's got to share the secret. He's got to share the secret. He sure
Seriously.
does. So what age did you learn to read?
That's one of those things. That's a very good point. Because I grew up in church, I'd probably say maybe around 2, because you're walking around with the Testament. It's like Psalm 1, right? And you've got to turn at those little books. We got them when we were in school too. People used to come around and we used to have assemblies.
Yes, with our
that
testaments.
required us to take our testaments to the hall. You guys don't remember this, do you? No, because you don't take them anymore.
So they won't even know. Exactly, they won't know.
So we'd have to take these little blue testaments, like right. So we had the New Testament, yeah. Nobody really read the Old Testament. It was just like a new one, right? So you're starting with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You're there, and you're going, okay, St. John chapter, whatever, and you turn it, and you're reading it, and it's just like it was just part of our culture, part of our education. So we had to do it.
Indeed, I would say around 5. And the technique that my parent would have used was repetition. So you read over and over. So to me, it became somewhat of a poem. So it's stuck in your brain. And then if you didn't, when you go and you didn't read it to her. So I would say repetition and lashes. That's the truth. Even for your tables, we had to be saying that thing, I swear, for more than a whole day. We had this little corner and she have you learning these tables. And when you go and you don't know it, lashes.
True story. I could not, for the life of me, subtract, when I was around 7 or 8 years old, 49 from 100, no matter what I did. And my mom was helping me. Well, I don't know if she was helping me. She wanted me to do it. Help is a strong word. So she wanted me to do it. And when I couldn't do it, I got lashed, right?
Yeah.
So occasionally, we've had this conversation, maybe even up to last month. I was like, do you remember that time when you beat me because I couldn't subtract? I'm like, but you didn't even help me. You didn't even know what the rules were. You couldn't explain it to me, but you lashed me. She's like, well, that's why you're good in math now.
I really think the lashes work. That's why we are good in so many things now.
Oh my gosh. So your parents used lashes to get you.
My mom. My dad wasn't much of a disciplinarian. My mom.
Oh, your mom used to, oh my gosh. Listen.
Lashes and repeating.
Lashes and repeating?
Yeah.
Listen, it's weird because my younger cousin, who's like 20 something now, she's going on like 75 because she's so mature and responsible. She would literally sit with books at 5 years old, and she'd be reading those big books because she watched her mother, Marin, read those books. And so she just like literally, she has this habit of like books without pictures, books, and she'd sit, get 3 books from the library in one day. Listen, 1 to 2 days they're done. She used to go back. How do you do that? And they don't have any pictures. I needed pictures.
I know, we needed pictures. Yeah, we taught books with just words were boring. But these kids are on a different level. And she reminds me of the guy that we spoke to yesterday with superhuman power, where his right eye scanned one page and his left eye scanned the other. So maybe your cousin has that superhuman ability.
No, I don't know. She's just interested in reading. But you know what? Considering that today's World Literacy Day, it makes sense because I think that as I grew older, I realized that, not up, but older, I realized that when it comes to reading, it opens your mind to so many other things. You can basically read about anything.
Yeah.
And your mind is expanded. Even the book that we were given yesterday. Thank you to Mr. Blanchett for giving us
thank you.
Of his book, The Truth About Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw. I mean, that was so engaging to me and so
insightful.
Interesting. So I want to read it. I can't wait. But I appreciate the value of reading and getting other people's ideas now more as I'm older, so I can understand when younger people don't really want to read. That's just me. I can understand. I'm partial to it.
But as you said, they don't necessarily need the visual side of the reading. They just need to be stimulated by what they're reading.
Yeah.
Because even if you don't have pictures sometimes, as we grew older and I learned to read in my mind, right? Because the day when I was reading out loud and then all of a sudden I realized I stopped reading out loud and I'm reading. Yeah. I'm like, what? I can do this? Like that was weird to me. So from since that, I never read out loud again. I was just always scanning. It'd be going through my mind like a computer, right?
Okay, yeah.
So,
that's... I don't know, I don't like to read silently. I mean, I have to do it if I have to, but I really don't like to read silently.
Really?
It's one of those things.
So you read out loud all the time?
Even when I'm prepping here, I literally have to hear, that's like, what's the inflection going to be like? So I generally find a quiet space and I go, okay, because if I have to read it in my mind, it's going to be like, I'm going to say it that way.
Oh.
Now, if it's a longer piece, of course I'm going to read it in my mind. News articles and those sorts of things, definitely. Reading about Putin, definitely. Zelensky, definitely.
Quiet.
Trump, I definitely read out loud. Well, I don't read out loud, I just react out loud. But that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
You get it.
But I admire that the teachers say that the kids are assessed so much.
Yeah.
And that reading is in school and that it is instilled from as early as childhood. So we know they are prepared, prepped, and ready at least to get where they need to get in life and be as literate as possible
Absolutely
to
right.
face the world.
Absolutely right. So this is World Literacy Day. Learn more about literacy. Grab your favorite book. Read it.
Read it, regardless if it doesn't have pictures or not.
All right, picture this. We'll be back in a moment.
Call and say, hello, Miss Lee. Yes, it's me, Earthquake. I come in Tuesday around 10. No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced. And when it come, it shake all sense and sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Once the shaking starts, you know it's earthquake. Make a quick move to a safe place. Don't run to the door, we are in the exit. Stairs might block up or full of people. Elevator, avoid that because you might get in and poof, power gone, and you're stuck in that box without ear. Take cover under a strong table or a bed or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH, drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls and doors in an earthquake, bad news. Take care yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drop and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, nobody run outside and ask, you feel it, you feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop and do the DCH, drop, cover, hold on.
Do you know that common baked goods such as bread and crackers are high in salt? Get salt smart.
No cash, no card, no problem. Jad, embrace the freedom.
Children, how can you tell a tsunami coming?
Teacher me.
Sammy?
My mother said, when uncle jump in the pool and the water spoosh out, that's how you tell a tsunami coming.
Settle down, children, settle down. Do you remember our tsunami song?
Yes!
Mommy, Uncle not here in the other shake. Hush your mouth. Daddy, Uncle not here and the sea gone.
Who cares? You don't see all them free fish? Quick, give me the bag.
This is how you tell a tsunami I come. Teacher says so. I would have failed in school, you know. Sammy, come, let me go. They would have failed anyhow. Let me run, see Sammy.
Great news, everyone! SKN Moves is turning 3. And this year, we are going to celebrate bigly by bringing back the 7-week challenge. For week 1, we will focus on the importance of breastfeeding. In week 2, we will participate in the SKN Move Anniversary Walk. Week 3, let's watch the In Your Kitchen I Rep My Community Competition Finals. Week 4, a healthy drinking water challenge. During week 5, it's all about mindfulness and our mental health. And no, that's not all. In week 6, we will learn about self-care and management. The celebrations end in week 7 with the Caribbean Wellness Week activities, National Fruit Day and National Sneaker Day. Come participate, celebrate and enjoy. Join SKN Moves and let us move toward a healthier St. Kitts and Nevis.
Good morning, SKN. This is Lyrical. I just want to say blessings to you. There are a happy place in the life if you live in there. A happy place in the life if you live in there. Cause them at a happy place in the life. And they can't change. And they just come out here to do right. So whether day or night, they will never ever change. Blessings, blessings, and blessings.
An African-American educator by the name of Rita Pearson said, and I quote, "Every child deserves a champion, an adult who will never give up on them, who understands the power of connection and insists they become the best they can possibly be," end quote. This role of a champion is often fulfilled by the stalwarts of our community, teachers. They play an unparalleled role in the development of our nation's children, our country, and our country at large. As such, one can rightly deduce that they have a substantial responsibility to bear. Today, we have the honor of speaking with a formidable educator, yes, Michelina Charles Hazel. Michelina recently delivered a deeply moving keynote address at the opening ceremony of the school year 2022-2023, and she is here to share a teacher's perspective. Good morning, Michelina to the public. Welcome to Good Morning SKN.
Good morning, Corsi.
And,
Good morning.
And how are you today? Okay. So we're going to start this on a light note. So why are you and the comrade no longer friends?
Comrade, the Honorable Jeffrey Henley and I said that in jest, but it's very important for us to signal, yes, I'm a comrade. However, it is important to distinguish my loyalty to party from my loyalty to the profession. So I don't want him to imagine that he's going to get a pass.
Okay, good stuff.
I want you to know that I'm going to hold you accountable with my integrity because the profession carries a dignity that demands that.
Lovely, lovely.
That's deep. You said you were starting light. That was very deep. All right, so your keynote address went viral. I don't imagine that you expected it to go viral. What was your reaction noticing that, hey, well, there are obviously a lot of people with whom those words resonate. It's going to be interesting to get your feedback on that, because I don't think that you were shy at all in delivering that speech. I don't get that from you. I get a lot of confidence from you. So you knew very well what you were going to be doing. I just don't think perhaps that you expected it to go as viral as it did.
I actually expected to be fired. I was like, ooh, they are going to sack me today. But I did not expect the roaring rounds of applause from my colleagues. I did not expect it to go viral, but I expected to tell the truth. I expected to use the opportunity and the platform to tell the truth. In education, we have a way of spitting facts. So this high school got the most passes. This is the education theory. This is what we want you to practice. But in order for education to change, we need to start telling the stories of education, because it's in storytelling that we're able to capture the nuances and the complexity. For example, the authorities in education would say, well, your job is from 8:30 to 3:30, write your prep, show up on time and teach. Whatever you do extra is charity. But the reality of the nuance of teaching is that the teacher becomes the superhero. What is prescribed as the job is not sufficient to get the job done. And so it's in telling the story, and the slides weren't shown, but seeing a teacher literally loaded with resources, when you see that human being come in with a suitcase and a backpack and a lunch pack and a plastic bag, you can understand the sacrifice of resourcing your own classroom. And those things are real in story. When we dignify the profession with humanity, storytelling gives flesh and bone to what we know the act of teaching is.
So I see you did quite a bit of research for your speech as you went right back to the first educator. So I want you to speak to a few things. Why did you think it was unimportant for Black persons to be educated? Why do you think she was sent here to basically fail? And some of the things that you said, including the 400 pounds, is that the same struggles for teachers now?
Okay, well, in 1929, this white woman was sent here, Miss Pickard, and those of the generation who are 70 and 80, they would know Teacher Pickard and the St. Kitts Girls' School. Education on the plantation or education in a colonial St. Kitts for Black children, for Black people, wasn't important because the space and the community, we were literally just cane cutters. Everybody knows the horrors of our colonial past. We sell it in tourism. And so it is important to understand as we thrive in our new development, and we keep saying, you know, human capacity building, human development. Humans are a rich and only resource, you know? It's important for us to acknowledge and to tell the story that that wasn't true just 70 years ago. Like, I would not have been able to go to school. I know I'm a teacher, would not have been able to go to school because I would not have been able to afford it. The class prejudice, the color prejudice, those things were real in St. Kitts. So when you go into the classroom and you mount that platform of I am a teacher or I am a learner, it's important to understand it is a privilege, and it is a new privilege that we would have started to take for granted. But least we forget, it's a hard-earned privilege. And talking to the idea of the 4,000 pounds.
4,000 or 400?
Oh, 400.
Yes, 400.
It's
a little bit of money
400,
now.
little bit of money. It's again the similarity, the nuances, you know. The schools are filled with the nation's children. We have to do so many things, but we are not considered one of those income generating sector. So if the teacher chair mash up, I guess your chair just mash up. And we have to do so many things, like furnish the library and make it reliable and usable, have laptops to teach graphic arts because art is modern and you have to teach skills that fit the modern economy. We don't always get the resources that we need. 93 years ago, she got 400, I'm just giving her so much money, 400 pounds to work magic. And we're still given so little in the budget, the national budget. If you listen to it, we get one of the least amount of money to service the largest population, or one of the largest and most valuable population. I just wanted to draw the comparison to say, 93 years ago, this is what happened. 2002, this is what is happening. And so the reform or the value, the honest investment in education is not what we think it is. Granted, there has been a lot of things happen that could be considered progressive and productive in education, but we still have a lot more to do.
Yes.
No, your words definitely resonate with me because I understand the struggle of having to, let's say, create meal to feed 5,000 when you've got 2 loaves, you know?
Like Jesus.
Yes. A lot of faith.
I heard a lot of Jesus. A lot of Jesus during that speech, yes.
Well, fortunately for us and our viewers, we actually have a clip of your speech, so we're going to
Mm-hmm.
take a look at it now.
So my message here today is in order for us to make an honest and sustainable investment in the outcome of our learners, teachers need care. We have to care to give teachers a new deal. We have to care to balance the professional and personal expectation of our teachers. Student success must equal teacher success. We are important.
And important you are, because if we don't have teachers, although our parents strive, we won't be as literate as we are, because you break down things that our parents won't know how to teach us to do. So I'm appreciative, very appreciative of you, Teacher Charles Hassel.
Well, honestly, I listened to that, and I could understand why the reaction was what it was, because you were saying that people should care about teachers. That line, student success equals teacher success, takes me back to what you said initially when it came to looking at the pass rates. And it's like, oh, this school did that, and we've got this, and we've got that. Having been through the system myself, I appreciate that while we talk about that sometimes, we're not necessarily seeing or understanding the struggles that the teachers have to go through in trying to get those numbers up, in even advocating for students who never make it to take those exams because of issues that were not addressed adequately. So you're right, we should care. So thank you for caring, and thank you for putting it out there.
Yes, yes. So the New Deal narrative, tell me, what is that?
The New Deal narrative, I like that. I'm going to steal that.
Yes, please do, please do. You can even put your trademark on it.
I think it's important that we care for teachers, because the nexus or the narrative, as Scotty says, when it comes to education, is that we look at the ministry and we look at the children. But the engine of education is the teacher. We are the ones that are responsible for implementing curriculum, for teaching overt and hidden curriculum. We are the ones that, introduce 75% of these children to church and God and civility and goodness, because the Sunday schools are empty. Girls' brigade, brownies, boys' brigade, the community, the village that was responsible for raising the child 50 years ago has somehow abdicated a lot of their responsibility. So to make this being human and humane happens in the classroom while I'm trying to teach English. And so we need to care for that individual. And the care narrative means that we need safe and positive community. Teachers need attention. Teachers need respect. Respect how we teach and what we say is necessary to teach. We need equity. The SPED educators, the special educators, special education, those teachers that teach at Cotton Thomas, those teachers that teach at TVET, those teachers that are learning support, the early childhood teachers, private and public. All of us are not regarded the same. All of us don't have the same voice. And all of us contribute to the whole good of education. And so it is important that you care for the individual and the collective teacher, regardless of where he or she is on the spectrum.
Very well said, Michelina.
Thank
We'll
you.
be back in a moment to continue this discussion. Stay tuned, everyone. More GMSKN in a flash.
Yo, what up? It's your boy N Richie right here at Studio 327. I'm here to give you the promo that you guys need because this is something special for St. Kitts. I'm telling you, tune in to Good Morning SKN, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and on Moment Channel 4. Also, I realize nobody else is doing this. Follow the Good Morning SKN Instagram at Good Morning SKN and the Studio 327 Inc. Instagram. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook. This is pretty long, but follow us and yeah.
Children, how can you tell a tsunami coming?
Teacher me.
Sammy?
My mother said, when uncle jump in the pool and the water spoosh out, that's how you tell a tsunami coming.
Settle down, children, settle down. Do you remember our tsunami song?
Yes!
Mommy, Uncle not here in the other shake.
Hush your mouth.
Daddy, Uncle not here and the sea gone.
Who cares? You don't see all them free fish? Quick, give me the bag.
This is how you tell a tsunami I come. Teacher says so. I would have failed in school, you know.
Sammy, come, let me go. They would have failed anyhow. Let me run, see, Sammy.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. We are speaking with Michelina Charles Hazel, a trained graduate teacher. And that's the level I remember feeling like, yeah, I get it, you know, because we have to sign the book, and you know what I'm talking about. We get to work, we sign the book, and we have to put our status.
Yeah.
Are you a substitute teacher? Are you a graduate teacher? Are you a trained teacher? Are you a trained graduate teacher? And we go up the rungs. So there are different levels to this thing.
I'm learning today.
You're learning, but in a way, to something that you said before, to the point that you made before, we're not all treated the same.
No, we're
and
not.
we should be, because when we get into the classroom, we're doing the same thing. So we deserve that level of respect. So you've been teaching for 11 years and 9 months. I asked you that before the break, by the way. I said she was going to make me look smart, but no, I didn't do that research. She just told me that. What motivated you to become a teacher in the first place?
I actually did not want to become a teacher. My mother made me teach. And she made me teach because she said, as a child, I was very particular with my education, and I would have got a lot from my educators. And so it is important that I contribute to nation building in a meaningful way. I remember thinking, she is like, what?
Wow.
And then after about the first day, I cried because I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, what? Like, teachers don't just teach and they learn? And then, you know, one of my first principals, she taught me to teach. And she taught me that being a teacher and teaching has nothing really to do with being bright and a university graduate. It's a separate skill that needs work. And so Miss Mary Clark took me and she taught me how to teach. And I learned how to teach. And then when those children connect to you and you see them become, and you influence that becoming, and you become a point of reference or content for goodness, I got hooked. Like, it wasn't intentional, but I got hooked. I got hooked on care and doing that meaningful work.
That's important. I'm still stuck on, Mommy made me do it.
Rosalind Hazel made me do it.
So in the same breath of care, you spoke, in your keynote speech, you spoke to caring for a child that doesn't adhere to the rules, and then you having the parent that doesn't ensure that the child adhere to those rules. How do you extend that care? How do you find it within yourself to do that?
I think that's one of the character building components of education, because you have to see beyond the ill discipline, see beyond whatever offense might have happened between you and the parent in the community, you and the child in the community, and see the duty that you have to the child, because children need love, and they don't always have the language or the skill to say, I need love. And so there's some sort of, I wouldn't say bigness, but humanity, a humanity that's bounded in duty. Okay, so like this child, this child is my child. There we go.
Okay, yes.
And that's not easy. It's not easy at all. That's not easy at all. All right, so it's a new school year. Obviously, everybody starts the year feeling hopeful. As a teacher, as an experienced teacher, you understand how hope can dwindle as time progresses. What would be your advice to other teachers and also to parents, and possibly to students even, as to how they could keep the motivation that they have at the start of the year and the excitement for learning and the possibilities that await them? Keep that in mind and in focus as the year progresses.
To the parents, make your teacher an ally. They are very important to your life and to the development of this country. We are not the enemy. And if you choose the fight, you cannot win, because you have to leave that precious gem with us. So it is better that you make us an ally. To the teachers, preserve your energy, because it is not a dash, it's a marathon. And so self-care in the act of caring for others is essential.
And to the students?
To the students, learn. It's a privilege. It might not seem like a privilege, but learn. Learn deeply, learn a lot, and enjoy learning, but learn. Teachers, we could be a little bit heg and mothering. We could be heg, it's the truth. I'm a heg teacher. But we mean well, and we want what is good for you.
Yes. As she said, amen. He passes CX.
Sometimes, you know, like when the results come back and you be like, oh, he passed.
He passed. He passed.
You know, it's a hallelujah. It's a hallelujah. It's a hallelujah.
It's what she
the
said
relief of this child has acquired the prerequisite to continue well, to continue to walk strong, to have good outcomes in life. Hallelujah.
Can't beat that. It's hallelujah. Mr. Lena, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence.
I know.
You're living that moment in which you went viral for
celebrity
saying
status.
what you considered to be something that would get you fired.
Yes.
Grateful you still have a job and a friend. All right. And we want to thank you guys as well for tuning into this edition of Good Morning SK. And of course, we remind you to follow us on our social media platforms, including Facebook and YouTube at Studio 327 Inc. And of course, Instagram at Good Morning SKN. Like, subscribe, follow, and share.
Remember, we're trying to get to our goal of 700 and more, so leave us a comment and let us know what was your favorite part of today's show. And this is where I say, see you tomorrow on Friday. Yes, Friday at 8 a.m. when you will start your morning with us right here at Good Morning SKN. Thank you for watching us as always, and have a great Thursday, guys. And once again, we know the Michelina. Have a good one, guys.